Hello everybody, I kind of want to talk about some more stupid stuff. So, I was in the midst of helping my friend out, and I always let people vent because I know that people just want to hear you, they just want connection, they just want you to annotate, and they don't always want someone to act like an authority figure on a topic. They don't need you to give advice. But of course, if someone starts destroying themselves over their breakup or whatever, and 3 years later they're still hurting themselves, it's time to put your foot down and give them advice of your own personal experience. And I don't see myself as an authority figure. I like to study sociology, I like to study psychopharmacology, but I think experience matters more in some cases because there's always circumstantial events. It isn't all just like a cookie cutter thing, especially with psychology. But obviously some people have different levels of perseverance, people have different temperaments, people have different severity levels of how they react to things. So not all advice works, and using that whole comparison thing that the people I was raised up by, the people I've always seen people, they do this toxic thing where they go, if I can do it, you can do it. Are you weak or something? Why are you sad about that? And it's because they think their experience, since they've grown a tolerance, it should be as easy, but they're lying, acting like it didn't hurt at the time. And so that's not how it works. Some people are hurt more by other things. It's not about weakness a lot of the times. More so, it's about their level of experience. If they haven't experienced something before, it might hurt as much, possibly, as somebody losing someone to death. I am completely aware of that. And I don't do that kind of stuff. I just try to help them out. But there's obviously a time where that kind of comparison thing comes into play, when you know that they can endure this and that they can better themselves. And so, anyways, they have this annoying mindset, I've always hated it, about I will never find anyone else, that the whole world sucks and that you're the only friend, and that there's no other girl in the world as well. Like, there's no other friends or relationships out there. And I'm like, there's 9 billion people in this world, hundreds of millions in our biggest cities. You think I'm special? There's people out there way better than me as friends, and there's women out there so much better than your ex as a partner. But you have to be responsible. You have to take accountability for your side of what you did to lose it. You have to be better for yourself and put 100% in, as do they. You can't blame everyone, because this whole thing is just a case of hyper-individualism, and it's unhealthy, and it's just very toxic. And being an isolationist like that, we've all been there. I've been there. But then you realize how much you need a friend. Your inner child will call out, and you're doing a disservice to them by ruining your legacy and continuing to delve down this downward spiral. And anyways, this is the preface and introduction to it. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but basically, I made a stupid example that had something to do with, what if there was a clone of me who, like evil Stetson, or maybe I'm evil Stetson, that's good Stetson, I don't know, but a clone of me, a doppelganger takes my place, takes my friends, takes my girlfriend, and I've been gone for a while. They thought that, like, I died, but he came back before I could come back, and I see that they'll think that, and I'm the original me. I would be upset. I'd feel sorry for myself because I'm missing out of what I feel like I deserve, that I want. It would hurt. And obviously there's more to it. I just don't want to go too much into the private stuff, but there's a lot more of a context around why I use that analogy. But anyways, we're done talking about that. Now, it made me think a little bit, and I'm like, okay, so what would I do in that scenario? It's hard to say until you're there, which will never be there. But I said, in the scenario where I ended up killing him because I had to, because he is me. He's just me, and a carbon copy. So let's say I killed him, and I killed me, and I dumped his body, and then one day, I go back to my life, and one day the police, they find this crime scene, and they rule it out as a homicide. And so how would that work? So I was like, okay, so let's think about this. This is funny. Who are they going to call to the stand? So let's say they study it and they're like, oh, this is a homicide. But then they realize that Stetson is still alive. So they're like, wait a minute, this dead body matches the DNA of Stetson Jenkins, the fingerprints. He has the same dental records are the same. What is going on here? Same eyes, same everything. All right, well, we're going to have to speak to our suspect, Stetson Jenkins, and so they do. And the forensic team finds out that the blood spatter and everything is that of a homicide, and they look and they're like, well, we found your DNA at the crime scene, Stetson. We found your DNA at the crime scene of your death. What would happen? Would they charge me, and would I go to court and be sentenced for suicide? Would that be where the whole thing of it's illegal to commit suicide comes in? Would it be first-degree suicide? And also, how are they going to rule out when the DNA at the scene is also mine and it's also the victim's? And so, how would they react to that? Would it be first-degree murder? Would it be a whole new charge? Or would it be so bizarre that they would have to exonerate, just dismiss the whole charge? I'm really curious. I'm really curious. Would everyone just have a heart attack from how bizarre it was? Like, would it be like, Stetson Jenkins, you are being tried, you are being charged with the murder in the first degree of Stetson Jenkins. How do you plead? How do you plead? I don't know. And so, realistically, they probably would find it such an anomaly that the CIA or something would come and talk to me. And they would come bring me to a lab to do tests and see how similar the bodies are and realize that we're exactly identical. It'd be like, okay, there's something going on here. Scientists would be scrambling to be like, was it a time warp? Was it some kind of wormhole thing? Is this proof that there's time travel? But that would be a paradox. Or would they be like, this is an alien shapeshifter, it looks just like him? Or would they just be like, it's a glitch in the Matrix? Who knows? I find it very funny, though. And would they end up killing me? Or would they threaten me to never tell anyone about what kind of test they experimented on me with? I just found that very, very intriguing. But if I haven't looked to see if there's any other concepts of that, any other stories regarding that. I've seen movies that have to do with, there was that one with Will Smith, I think, where he's going after himself or whatever. But never ever seen anything regarding like what would happen if you were suspected in killing yourself. Would it still be considered murder? Very strange, very strange. All right, I just wanted to talk about that. Sorry.